Hi, I'm Anna, and today I'm doing the reading taste tag. I was tagged by Lee from Galactic Rates. Well, she didn't tag me on her video exactly, but when I commented, she was like, oh, you should do this one. So here I am. Question number 1. What is your favorite genre? Oof, well, I'm not sure I can choose because I love many genres. I love historical fiction, I love fantasy, dystopian, sci-fi. I mean, there are too many, but I would say fantasy has been my number one throughout. Fantasy and thriller. Yeah, I don't think I can choose one. Fantasy and thriller. I think both. Fantasy gives me this world in which I can reimagine myself, and thriller gives me that edgy feeling. When a thriller is properly done, I'm just all the time on edge, and I really like both. Like one in which I can just dive into the world and forget the real one, and another one in which I can just be on edge and feel my heart beating so fast. I reckon I just like strong emotions somehow. Question number 2 is, what is the most difficult genre for you to read? Oof, I wouldn't be so sure either. I mean, I hate self-help in general, although I have liked a couple that I've read, but in general it's not a genre I love. But within other genres, I would say sometimes history itself is hardest to read. I mean, I enjoy history, but I think it's not a book like for a readathon or that you can set yourself to read within a couple of weeks, because you really don't know. It's a book to digest, to take step by step, slowly, and maybe also memoirs. I mean, I like them, but they are what they are. It's like you cannot really dive into them, and not always is. It doesn't always happen that you identify yourself with the person writing the memoir. So yeah, I mean, it's harder for me to pick them up. Let's say I don't normally pick them up. I tend to go for historical fiction, history-wise, because again, I can dive into it instead of just reading about it from the outside. I don't know if it makes sense. I hope it does. Question number 3. What is your preferred age range? I don't have one, honestly. I mean, sometimes it's hard to read YA because there's some behaviors I just don't feel close to, or I, at this point in my life, find like a bit illogical. But I love middle grade. And I love adult, and I also read YA. There's some YA I feel closer to than other, but I really don't have a preferred age range. I think you should always be able to read any age range and enjoy any of them. I mean, if you're an adult, you anyway had a childhood, and you had an adolescent stage, and a young adult or new adult stage. Question number 4. Are you a character-driven or plot-driven reader? None. I didn't think this thing existed, but it seems it does, or at least it's a thing for me. Let me know if it's a thing, or if you think that's not really a thing. I'm atmosphere-driven. So if I start reading a book and it just draws me into the world, and I can feel inside it, like I can feel the story coming to life around me, then you have me. Then second, I'm not sure. I think plot and then characters, but I believe the plot is also partly made by the characters themselves. So Yeah, I'm not sure if I would give a second place to the plot or to the characters, because I believe both are as important. I just think the atmosphere is number one. That's clear to me. And trust me, in all my reading life, I started reading when I was 3 years old, and I hadn't discovered these until last month. So, yeah, it doesn't make sense. I don't know what I was thinking about, but I never stopped to think about this, or I never realized I liked a book a lot more when I was driven by the atmosphere, when I could really dive into it. Like, I feel everything coming to life, and I feel the story around me, and it's just perfect. But if there's not a good atmosphere, it's harder for me to read it. So right now, for example, I love psychology. I study psychology. Is the brain is the greatest love of my life. But when I'm reading a book based on a book of essays by Sigmund Freud, and I'm interested in his point of view from about hysteria or hysteria. I don't know how you say it really in English, but I think it's hysteria or hysteria. Then but it's hard for me to read it. Like, I love reading about neurosciences because they're technical books, but this one, question number 5, do you have a preferred perspective? Well, I have no problem with third person and first person. Like, second person would be quite hard, I think. And first person, it depends. Like, if there are multiple POVs, you would have to differentiate clearly in the expression of one and the other. And I really like first person, like when it gets you inside the story. But if it's not properly done, I'd rather have a well-written third person. I mean, I have no problem if the atmosphere is fun, as I said. Even if it's third person, I'll dive straight into it. Question number 6. Do you have a preferred tense? I believe past. Yeah, I think past would be my preferred tense because I really feel as if it was a story. Otherwise, I don't feel it as much. And I don't know, present would be hard, especially if it's first person. Question number 7. Do you like series or standalone books best? I like both, honestly. Like, the problem with series is that in most cases, not all books are as good. I love series because you can get deeper into the world and because you can get to know the characters better. So you develop kind of an attachment to them and you feel them even closer. But if standalone is good, I'll never forget the book. So I don't think I can choose, but I developed a tendency not to finish series, which I'm actually trying to change this year, because leaving them unfinished is like, no, there has to be closure. So yeah, but I like both equally. Question number 8. Which would you rather, long or short books? It depends what you call long. If long is 500 plus pages, around midway. So around 500 pages. Like, I have the tendency, I realized, of reading books that are between 300 and 400 pages. But lately I've been reading books that are between 400 and 700 pages. And I've had no issue with them. I mean, the thing is that sometimes when they're too heavy, I tend to put them down for a bit and then take them back later on. Like, not DNF them, but take my time reading them. But Sanderson, for example, you fly through his books and they're mostly between 600 and 700 pages. So yeah, I have no preference. Like, I read it, which is more than 1,000 pages in 4 days, I think. So yeah, I mean, if the book's good, it doesn't matter. Question number 9. Which format do you like best? Well, I believe among readers there's nothing better than grabbing a book, touching it, smelling it. The smell of books is my favorite smell ever. So yeah, a physical book is my all-time preferred format. But since I have my Kindle, I found it quite nice to read on it. Like when I had to read on my computer, I was not that fond of ebooks. It's been better lately, just this month that I've had the Kindle. And I didn't read audiobooks, but I started reading audiobooks around mid-year last year, and I completely fell in love. And I think I've read more audiobooks than anything else, like listened to more audiobooks than anything else. But yeah, if it's preference, like that's when I don't have that much time. But if it's preference, physical, for sure. Question number 10. What are you currently reading? Well, I'm not going to show them because I don't have them right here with me, but I'm currently reading, as I said, a book of essays on hysteria by Sigmund Freud, The Poppy War by R.F. Kuang, and The Final Empire by Brandon Sanderson. I hope I can finish those two this month because I'm already delayed on my TBR, but just to show you more or less what I read, I'm going to tell you the books I have on my TBR that I haven't read yet this month. And they are The Shadow Man, which is a thriller by Helen Fields, given to me by NetGalley. The Crown of Crosswell by D.E. Knight, given to me by the publisher and the author. And this is a fantasy middle grade. Then Children of Virtue and Vengeance, the second one in the Legacy of Orisha series by Tommy Adeyemi. That's also a fantasy. Blue Light by Walter Mosley. That is, I believe, kind of a dystopian thriller-ish thing. I'm not sure at all. I was given that book by a very good friend of mine. Then Sky in the Deep by Everett Young, which is again a fantasy based on Vikings. The Night Seekers by Erin Morgenstern. Okay, I've never been able to say it right first time. Morgenstern. Okay, there you go. That is also a fantasy, and there's magic in it too. So, yeah. And Nightmares and Dreamscapes by Stephen King, which I'm not sure if it's a horror or a thriller because he's the master in both of them. But yeah, I like to go into books blind, and if it's Stephen King, I want to read it. So for this one, I'm tagging Maddie from Book Browsing Blog, Steph from Steph Loves, Siobhan from Siobhan Louise Reads a Lot, and Daijah from Daijah's Book World. I really hope you girls can get to do this. I'd love to know deeper from your reading taste. That's it for me today. I hope you're having a wonderful month of January, beginning of 2021. And I hope to see you soon on my channel. Please like, don't forget to comment. I'd love to know your answers to these questions I replied. Let me know if you have any book recommendations from the genres I mentioned. Don't forget to subscribe and click on the bell for notifications. Hope to see you soon back in my channel. Bye!